eventually calm down.
Okay. Jenny Monroe, Edmond Police, thank you for your time. We appreciate the
You're
information. They do have the train stopped. I believe she said it's just around the Danforth area. And so we're going to find out more about that as they continue their investigation. What was causing the spark? Was it a chain? Was it a wheel from the train itself? Exactly what was it? Because everybody's interested in that, because it sparked several fires all the way from Memorial all the way to 2nd Street.
Yeah, and photojournalist Chris Lee has been on the ground. Chris, you got there not too long after these fires sparked. Just give us a rundown of how things are looking where you are.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, I'm looking northbound on the tracks now. That's Academy just on the right side of your screen. And the fires all appear to be out. Don't even see any smoke going that way. Now here between 15th and 33rd, brush pumper from Edmond down here working some hot spots. Back behind some businesses. I talked with one of the business workers. He said what he witnessed was a wheel on the train was locked up. He heard it was making an awful sound and screeching. He saw it and it was throwing out sparks, and then the next thing he knew, the grass behind his business was on fire. So apparently one of the wheels on one of the cars locked up and was sending up sparks from the rails, and that's what caused all this from along the railroad tracks. At least that's according to a witness here in Edmond. Also a fire truck from Edmond here behind some of the other businesses. They're putting out the hot spots. They're putting out some of that. There's just some debris, some trash, some trees, things that are in this right of way that are burning. Everything else is kind of out. The perimeter, the outside where the fire would expand is pretty much out. This is looking down towards 33rd Street and those businesses down there. You did mention the power lines. There are some old power lines. If you look, there's kind of a pole. There aren't any wires on those. I think that may have been with the old railroad. I know some of those were pretty badly burned along there, but I don't think there's any wires, or if there are any wires, they aren't actually being used. So maybe that's why we saw poles burning and nobody has any power issues. But that is a concern with those wooden poles, that you do have live power lines overhead, and the grass starts burning them at the bottom. They can burn through and cause their own problems too. Jessica, Paul.
Okay, Chris Lee on the ground there, just off of Kelly, where you see the fire in Sky 5 just above Chris Lee. And in fact, if you look across the burn spot there, the white truck is Chris Lee on the ground, so he's just on the other side of the train track right there, shooting his video across the way from the train track, where you can see all the firefighters putting out those hot spots right there.
Interesting, though, to hear him say, he talked to a witness who said they thought they saw a wheel lock up on the train, which would make complete sense.
Yeah.
Sparks fly, and there you go, fires start. Of course, police will have to investigate and see exactly what happened, talk to the conductor of that train. But thankfully, it's not as bad as it could have been.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine the scare for all of those people in those businesses? If you know that area, if you've been up through Edmond along the Broadway extension, just headed north, off to the west, there's just business after business after business, and thankfully those flames just stayed contained to the back side of them in the grassy area and just never made their way over to
in fact,
from
the larger picture, just look at that one business up there. They've got the garage door open. They've got the guys standing there just watching this thing. And as a business owner, I'm guessing, I'll bet a lot of these are smaller business owners right there. Their livelihood just between nothing but a concrete pad separating that fire from their business, and they got to do their best to protect it what they can and just watch, probably with nails biting.
And we have another picture. We're showing you the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That's a live picture from 164th in between Portland and MacArthur. That was the Still Meadows Drive area where they saw fire start to get out of control pretty quickly, and they got the upper hand on that one fast as well. Sky 5 has been flying overhead for about the last 30, 45 minutes or so, watching this thing, keeping a close eye as this fire is burning.
And you can see here that, the hot spots, they're getting them put out, and they're just really going methodically down through here. From the top of the screen down, you can see it's where the hot spot literally is as they continue to put water on this fire.
So if you were just now joining us right now, you're watching KOCO 5 News at 6 o'clock. Fire danger very high in the Oklahoma City metro area today. One fire after another got started by a train. Moving along the tracks there in Edmond, Sky 5 live overhead. The aftermath of this, sparks flew, started a fire, all hands on deck, making sure they got those flames out.
And it started more than one. That's one that you're seeing right there. But we are being told that it started fires all the way from Memorial all the way up to 2nd Street. So there were multiple smaller fires burning right on the side of the track, separating the track and the businesses. Right there you see just that little patch of grassy area, and boy, it burned it, but they were able to get the water on it and get it put out.
Starting around Memorial and Kelly, police had to get on the phone with the train company and get that thing stopped. They were able to do that to make sure it wasn't sparking any more fires. Our photojournalist on the ground talked to a witness who said, hey, I saw a wheel lock up on that train. Of course, police still trying to confirm and figure out exactly what happened, what it was with that train that started those multiple fires that really were just yards away from business after business after business there in Edmond. Thankfully, no structures, no businesses have burned. We did see a trailer and perhaps a car that had some embers get over to it, but mostly grass in that area.
And now we've moved over across town, over in northwest Oklahoma City, 164th Street and Still Meadows Drive. That's the picture you're looking at right now. Boy, one sparked up right along this area, 164th and MacArthur, 164th and Portland, right in that area. Boy, sparked right up and was spreading very quickly. Fire crews jumped on this over near Still Meadows Drive, not very far from houses. They were able to get this out, and this is the result that you're seeing right here. Most of the flames really kept to the roadway as close as they could get it. Smoke got near the houses, but what we understand, the fire did not hit the houses, and that is the news we wanted to hear.
In both of these situations in the metro from Edmond to Oklahoma City, I mean, firefighters were on it. They were able to get these fires out fairly quickly. Could have been much worse considering what we're up against right now, especially with winds gusting at times to 33 miles per hour. You know that can just get an ember moving across and spark up flames in another area.
Now we've got team coverage on this big story tonight. We want to go out to KOCO's Kim Passoff. She is across town on the ground. Kim, you're over at 164th in that area. Tell us about your situation.
That's right, Paul and Jessica. Just a wild situation here. We were in another grass fire about a mile away, northwest 164th and Rockwell. Leaving that story, coming here, we'd passed MacArthur on 164th right before you got to Portland, and we saw this entire field was on fire around those power poles. There were huge flames just coming up, and there were no fire trucks when we first got here. So it appears that we were one of the first people on scene. Now, we talked to, at the other fire, the fire chief told us that he believes that somebody had just discarded a cigarette on the side of the road, and that's what sparked that fire. Could very well be the same thing here because it was right off the roadway, and it traveled fast. We're talking hundreds of yards in just minutes. And it was huge, and it got very close to some houses. Fortunately, everything is okay at this point. They do have the upper hand, so good news, and the temperature coming way, way down at this point. So it does appear that this situation is winding down. Paul and Jessica, back to you.
And that's the news we wanted to hear because so many people are trying to get home in that area around 164th and Portland and MacArthur, trying to get home. So good that they're getting that under control.
Winds coming down, temperatures coming down makes those fire conditions less favorable. Chris Lee, our photojournalist, has been on the ground watching this fire from when it started to now. Chris, it is almost out there along those train tracks there at Memorial and Kelly.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not going anywhere. This is behind some businesses. We're to the east of Broadway Extension, to the west of Kelly, along the railroad tracks. This fire burned right up back behind some businesses all along the railroad tracks here. When I got here, there were flames from about 50 yards to my north, all the way down towards 33rd Street, and it was traveling pretty fast down 33rd Street. There were several fires along here, and it really took the fire department a little while to get trucks and manpower to every single spot because there were so many. Usually when they get a grass fire, there's one location and one source of origin, and that's where they go, and that's where they put the fire out or where it's going. But this one had several spots, and it kind of had them it took them a while to get a handle on it. Right now they're just putting out the hot spots back behind here. I talked to one of the business owners that said he saw a train come down the tracks making a lot of noise. One of the wheels appeared to be locked up and was throwing sparks. That is, one of the wheels on one of the cars of the train was not going around, so it was throwing sparks, and those sparks caused all these fires. I have not been able to confirm that, but that's what a witness told me here. I'd like to show you one other thing here. There are some embers and things. This is a power line, one of those old power lines I was telling you. I don't think that's a live power line as far as the pole having wires that has electricity on it, but as you can see, it's still burning and it's throwing off sparks. So if they don't get that put out sometime before they leave, that could spark up another issue later on. So they're just out here, and you know, with things like that all along from 2nd Street all the way down to Memorial in Oklahoma City, they're just going to be out here quite a while. Paul and Jess?
Yeah, it is going to take those moments of just watching those little spots, just like you saw there from that power pole. Little hot spot right there. They got to get it put out so they make sure that it doesn't spread. But you see them digging through there, and everywhere they dig underneath is just red.
We had been telling you, or meteorologists have been telling you, it was going to be a very high fire danger day today. Thankfully, things are starting to improve, but we want to get an update from meteorologist Jonathan Condor right now on how things are looking. Jonathan?
Well, I can tell you here, just in the last about 15 minutes, the winds have really come down, and that's probably the most important ingredient when it comes to these wildfires and these grass fires this afternoon. Look at the maps here. Wind gusts right now, only 26 in Clinton, only 21 in Woodward, only 29 in Alva. That's where the winds have really dropped off. Earlier today, they were gusting to about 50, 55 miles an hour, so a huge improvement. Now, the graphic here says 33 miles per hour at Will Rogers Airport. I think that's an old report, because look at the other locations. These are gusts. 22 in Norman, 26 in Tuttle, now 18 in War Acres. In Edmond, there's a Mesonet site, and you can see right where those fires were caused by that train, now only gusting to 17. That's a huge improvement, so conditions really much more favorable now for the firefighters. The humidity is still really low. Notice a relative humidity still in the 12% range, and anytime you're lower than 20%, that's critical for fire danger. And notice that there's no moisture moving, and we have that northwest wind continuing to bring in the dry conditions. The National Weather Service has decided or allowed that red flag warning to expire. So the fire warnings have now expired. So we're past the peak of the most critical fire danger for today. We'll get a little break for tomorrow, even though we're still in the high category. Fire danger is still up there, but Saturday and Sunday, we're right on the high to very high criteria because of low humidity and stronger winds, and the fire danger really doesn't go away for about the next 5 days. The overall forecast here for this evening, northwest winds 15, gusting to about 25, decreasing throughout the overnight. 27 is low tomorrow morning. By noon tomorrow, winds still gusting 20, 25, 43. Notice by the end of the day, northwest winds 10 to 15. So big improvement there with a high of 50. What about your weekend? That forecast is coming up here in a few moments.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you, and we'll keep you posted with updates on those fires. Thankfully, it looks like things have improved. Want to get to some other news today. A town clerk accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars.
And now there is a criminal investigation underway. KOCO's Naveen Dhaliwal is in Luther tonight. Naveen, how much money are we talking about here?
Paul, we're talking about $48,000. That is a chunk of change, and town council members had no idea the money was missing until an annual audit was done.
It's sad and also scary.
It's news that spread faster than any wildfire Luther experienced. One of their own trusted town members accused of stealing money. A town audit showed former clerk Donita Roby stole around $48,000.
City council that's in there is doing all they can.
Town council members didn't want to go on camera, but say they were surprised to hear about the missing money. They also say the audit showed Roby didn't pay payroll taxes since September of 2012. Now the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office is investigating, and residents hope it gets resolved soon.
Not only the town, but just the face that it puts on the town. I mean, it's, oh, here we go, Luther's back on the TV. You know, the negative impact it puts on the town itself, just if people's going to start wondering what in the world's going on in that town.
And Roby did resign. Now, I did speak with the Oklahoma Sheriff's Office today and Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office today, and they tell me they're still investigating. I also spoke with the district attorney, and he tells me so far he has not received any paperwork on Roby yet. Live in Luther tonight, Naveen Dhaliwal, KOCO 5 News.
Okay, Naveen, thank you very much. We'll be right back after this message. We're talking about the flu when we come back.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 6 with Jessica Shambach, Paul Folger, and Oklahoma City's most accurate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane. Now, KOCO 5 News continues.
We are glad you're back. 7 more people in the state have died from the flu in just the last month.
Just awful. Those deaths bring the total now for the state to 12 since the start of the flu season. There have also been 147 more people hospitalized from the flu in just the past week alone. No deaths have been reported in Oklahoma County, Cleveland, or Canadian counties, but 3 people have died from the virus in Tulsa. And state health officials warn we haven't seen the worst of it.
From our previous experience, we do know that we typically see our beginning of increase around late December into January, and then peaking around late January into sometime in February before we start to see our decline.
So if you haven't gotten a flu shot, officials say still a good idea to go and do it. They say if you feel like you have flu-like symptoms, call or visit your doctor before heading to the emergency room.
Well, the weekend is right around the corner. How are those winds going to impact your outdoor plans? And what about the temperatures? That's all coming up in your First Alert forecast.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2.
On top of the big story, you can see here from Sky 5, wildfires in the Edmond area over in northwest Oklahoma City as well. This is the area around 33rd and Kelly that you're looking at.
So from the air, let's head to the ground now where photojournalist Chris Lee is standing by right now. Chris?
Yeah, you're looking south down the tracks. I'm north of 33rd, so I'm looking back down at 33rd. That's the dome of the shopping center there. Seeing brush pumpers kind of going through that area, checking things out. And up here, there's still crews back behind these buildings. They're going through hot spots. You can see there's still some little embers and things like that they're along here, things that are smoking that they're trying to put out. So they're going to be out here a while, making sure this doesn't go anywhere. Back to you guys.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. The thing noticeable, not that much wind in that shot.
Right, and meteorologist Jonathan Condor been keeping a close watch on those wind speeds. Jonathan, things have certainly improved.
Big improvement here in the last hour, and just a difference in like 10 miles an hour with the wind gust makes all the difference. Now, even though Will Rogers is reporting a gust of 33 miles an hour, that's the report from the last hour. That's not updated, but look at all the other numbers across the central Oklahoma and the metro. Only gusting 18 in Midwest City, 17 in Edmond, 23 War Acres, 26 in Minco. There's a pocket, a little bit stronger winds between El Reno and Minco right there, maybe gusting in about the mid to upper 20s, but that's a huge difference from what we saw earlier today where winds were gusting into the lower mid 30s in central Oklahoma. And then earlier today, the highest wind gusts I could find up in Freedom, so that's between Woodward and Alva, Freedom wind gusts 55 miles an hour, another 3 miles an hour, and that's the criteria for severe thunderstorm warning. So real windy day. Let's take a look at the fire danger. The National Weather Service has allowed the red flag warning or the fire warning to expire. So we're past the peak of the fire danger for today. That's good. Check out predictor winds. These are wind gusts here. By about midnight, they're still going to be out of the north, and there may still be some pockets gusting to 30 miles an hour. Winds will slow down by about daybreak, gusting in the 20-mile-per-hour range. And then as we get into tomorrow, look at the wind gusts. They're only into the teens. So winds throughout the day tomorrow will just keep on going down. They will pick back up for the weekend. And because of the higher wind gusts this weekend, the fire danger will go from high tomorrow to high to very high Saturday and Sunday. So we still need to be careful and vigilant for the fire danger this weekend, and we're still stuck in the high category for Monday and Tuesday and well into next week. Looking outside, pretty quiet here. Camera's really not moving around as we look at the Broadway extension. Look how low the humidity is. The dew point is only 1 degree. When the dew point gets that low, that's almost like desert-like air. The relative humidity only 12%, and the temperature's now coming down with a cloudy sky at 53 degrees. Temperatures across the rest of the metro, 52 up in Edmond to 50 down in Norman, 52 over in El Reno, and up north 49 for Ponca City to 56 in Lawton. So low temperatures for tomorrow morning. Today was pretty mild, and we really didn't get that cold this morning. We only dropped down to the 30s and the 40s. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up to low 20s up north, 27 for the metro, 30 for Lawton. Highs for tomorrow, a lot lower than today. We enjoyed some lower 60s today. Tomorrow, only be in the 40s up north, northeast. Ponca City at 45, OKC at 50, then 55 for Lawton. But if you can make it through tomorrow, don't worry. There's a nice trend this weekend, a big warm up for the weekend back into the 60s. And it's not just Sunday. Saturday's looking pretty good with lower to mid 60s with those winds out of the northwest. On Saturday, they'll turn around to the southwest on Sunday, and that's really going to warm us up a little bit more, upper 60s on tap. Satellite radar review, clouds coming out of the northwest, high-level clouds there. Here's predictor, no moisture, so no precipitation tonight. Wake up tomorrow morning, those clouds are gone throughout the day tomorrow. A mostly sunny sky, and you're going to see a lot of sunny icons on the 7-day planner. The overall weather pattern here, the storm track is to our north. This is where all the Alberta clippers will move through. They're kind of robbing us of our moisture. So storm track to the north, our flow is coming out of the northwest, and that's a very dry and arid region for us. So hardly any rain, probably no rain on the 7-day. Tonight, 27 for the low in the metro, some clouds, 30 at 8 a.m. The winds strongest, maybe about midday, 43 during the lunch hour, 50 by the afternoon will be the high with winds decreasing into the afternoon. So we go from 50 on Friday, 62 on Saturday, warmer yet on Sunday, and here comes more cold air dipping down the upper 40s to the lower 50s, and then a little warm up for Thursday. But notice there's no rain on the 7-day planner. We'll have to wait till the end of the month to see any significant precipitation in the Sooner State. You're up to date with the latest First Alert forecast.
Coming up next, big game for the Thunder tonight. They need some confidence. Love to get a little bit in Houston tonight. Plus, Cowboys flying high in Stillwater and looking ahead to the Jayhawks next on KOCO 5 Sports.
Now, KOCO 5 Sports with Sports Director Brian Keating.
And the Thunder have a brand new backup point guard back with the Thunder. Royal Ivey back with Oklahoma City, signed a 10-day contract today. He will be available tonight for the game against the Houston Rockets. It is a tough ball game tonight, and they are still on the road. Fourth time in the last 5 games they are away from Oklahoma City, and they really need a win too. The Thunder have lost 5 of their last 8, while the Rockets, they've won 5 of 6. That's at 8:30 tonight. College basketball last night. How about the performance from the OSU Cowboys? Marcus Smart had huge numbers, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Markel Brown, the highlight reel play of the night. Cowboys, they play Kansas on Saturday. Here's Abigail Ogle.
Coming into Wednesday night's game against TCU, some might have worried about the Cowboys overlooking the Horned Frogs.